good.
tying us up.
All right, so ratify agent's approval.
Open up the meeting just in case we weren't online.
Can I get a motion to open up the October 5th Board of Health meeting at 6:35 PM?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ratify agent's approval, A through E. Bob, do any of these wonderful letters have issues?
No, actually, most had no variances due, had no variances, period. Revisions are totally made, and some didn't even need any revisions. So they're ready and going.
Can I get a motion to approve the disposal work permit ratifications, A through E?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm so moved.
So moved.
Okay.
So moved.
Bob, how's Lyden Lane doing?
There's no improvement at this time. I've spoke with the resident. This was a week and a half ago now with the fire chief. And I've checked daily because he said at least he'd start putting out a trash bag. So every day I drive by just in case it needs to be picked up and thrown out, and hasn't been there. So a second order was sent and that's why I made the visit. And assistance still has yet to occur from Brockton Hoarding, even though, talking with Darlene today, it was escalated.
Can you remind me what we were going to do if
Sure.
this discussion went the way it has tonight? Weren't we going to give a deadline?
Well, yes. So what we can do, first of all, we'd have to have a public meeting and we'd have to vote on our decision. Okay, to do that.
I don't want to embarrass anybody.
But then it would allow us as the board, and I plan on starting the finings just so that at least we have fines in place too. Part of my orders were, here are the fine amounts, much like what we did at 163
Right.
Plymouth Street. That's the course that this will technically follow. But we could have an emergency order under 105 CMR 200 because we are the Board of Health, and we could get a vacation, an order to vacate, which would be to clean and or tear down. We're not going to tear down the condos.
Let's not do that.
But we could still clean
So
again under that. So.
How does this fall under a public meeting?
Well,
I don't really understand.
for a hearing,
Or for a hearing.
he deserves a right to dispute the allegations
I just feel like it should
of
be in
the
a private-
neighbors, and it's a slippery slope when you're not dealing specifically with the landlord-tenant relationship.
Are there any?
And he's technically the owner, so even though it's in the condo complex, he owns the unit, I think. So it'd be like going onto somebody's property. You follow the proper procedures.
What are the current hazards in the home? Did you notice any?
I have not been allowed entrance into the home, which is his right under the law. However, I do have neighbors' complaints. And
Odors, bugs, animals in the attic.
right,
How do
again,
we? There's got to be a way that we can get access. You can't just tell us,
Well-
no, you can't come in.
so right now, that's why I'm working with the fire department, is because I can visually see that a second means of egress is not accessible. And the fire department can, and the fire department will have to follow the same policies, procedures, and laws that are in place. So, again, it's something that We
feel
can
like,
step up on it, but it's not like you can just knock down a door.
yeah, but I feel like somebody's life is, if we don't have a second means of
Yes.
egress, I feel that that is somebody's life in danger, and it shouldn't be, oh, a week to here, a week there. I get it, we have to follow procedures, but at
So
any
what is
moment,
the
a fire can
procedure?
break out.
What is the procedure if the second point of egress is blocked?
So,
Like, what's the difference
again,
between this and the other
the
one?
order's already been written, and he knows
Okay.
about it, right? So we do, we post a public hearing, because you'd have to vote that we're going to enforce that happens within a day, 2 days, 3 days.
Or else what?
Now,
The fire department going?
if that gets cleared out,
Condemn it, I think.
so now if that gets cleared out,
Well,
is he okay? No, the problem hasn't gone away. He can get out, now he can get out of the building, but all the junk and crap is still inside.
it's my opinion
So
that
you want to get it all done. And I totally agree it's enough, but also,
it's a
it
danger.
took us 2 years at 163 Plymouth Street
It's a
for
little
what
different,
we
though.
knew
couldn't
was...
find the guy, and he had aliases.
So,
It's the same basic scenario.
what if
Meaning?
we told him, listen, we're going to have a public hearing in 2 weeks at our next meeting, and we're going to vote on whether or not we're going to come, whatever. And then that gives him 2 weeks to clean his act up, and if he doesn't, then he can come before us, and then we can vote on it then. But I
Yeah,
mean,
and if
then
you
you're giving him a
so
chance
then
not
within
to
2 weeks, he'd have to be here.
Yeah.
Or we'd have to see improvement.
Yeah.
And if not,
So,
within a day or two, I can order him to vacate. Now we got to figure out how to clean it. Meaning,
so let me see if I understand.
and with what money?
If we make a special meeting in 2 weeks, a hearing,
It could be our next,
right? At that point, we would have to give him an additional 2 weeks, or at that point, we would
tell
vote
him
to-
now. In 2 weeks,
Exactly.
we're going to vote on it. So you
so
have 2
now we
weeks to
vote
fix
on it, he's ordered to vacate.
And if he doesn't show up for this hearing,
We can still vote and vacate.
okay, all right.
And
At
then,
this point, I think it's as much for his well-being as the people around him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
right,
like-
it's a dual purpose, and then comes the final piece of the puzzle, so it has to be cleaned.
Is in there money in?
No.
There's no money. Didn't I hear, maybe this is a few years back, that every year we end up having to give money back because we don't spend it and in the Board
We
of Health
give it
budget?
back on different lines, so now we'd have to go to the select board, of which we have one person, and
Person.
ask, okay, we're going to need X number of dollars to clean this residence, and then make sure that the town can put a lien against the residence, or not the resident as much as the house itself, to recoup the money.
What was all the extra money that we used to have to give back before?
So, in years that I've been here, we did not have a nurse. I
Okay.
gave back $7,000 in nursing funds throughout COVID. I usually don't spend my clothing supply budget, but that's a couple $100.
I feel like there should
I
be
usually
a
don't-
line item for stuff like this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Some towns do.
Yeah, well, it's about
But we don't.
stepping up.
I'm talking Board of Health, whatever happens in financials. I mean,
Well, how do we-
I asked to
Well,
put
I
money
mean,
aside for beaver
You can get a cleaning
patrol.
company to go into a 2-bedroom condo and clean it for a couple $100. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
a
we're
huge
gonna need a
expense.
dumpster though.
But yes and no. Cleaning company can do it, but in the event that they walk in and they find certain conditions
Oh, yeah,
that we
hazardous.
need to hire
Hazmat.
disaster relief and whatever, then we're talking a whole different
Is
line on
there
the
some
budget.
sort of South Shore something that has money allocated?
Yep,
That is-
which is what I've been pounding my head with Brockton
According to
and Council of Aging, because yes, they do have money. According to Darlene, who has contacts there, that's what the money's set aside for. Yet they can't either distribute the money or, so I had to write them a letter that said, do I feel that this person's health and well-being is in jeopardy? And I said, absolutely. I said, I'm not a medical doctor. However, everything indicates that he's not living in a safe condition and in need of these services. So, yeah, I
basically
want
where
it
it
done
stands,
yesterday, but I also want to make sure that, one, there's no liability towards the town, and two, one, switch them around. His health and the health of the condo, the condo residents to the sides of him are protected, which is where we really need to come from. Now, the condo association, we had a meeting with them too, and they're on board. They've offered to free up parking spots for a pod, because he said he needed to put some stuff in a pod to clean it right, and a dumpster. So he'll get a dumpster right in front of his house. He'll get a pod in front of his house, and now he'd have to take it from there. But so the condo association also wants to work with us, but they also share a responsibility. And yeah, we're here to give you some teeth, but it's your condo complex, your condo fees. How do they want to spend it too? You know, I hate to talk money in situations like this at all. All I care about is the public health aspect. But at the end of the day,
So it sounds like at the end of the day, it's really not our decision.
no.
It's
but it's
the
a
money's
time.
decision.
No, and I'm sorry if I came across with the money decision. It's also timing to get the monies in place to do what you need to do. I don't have
Oh, I know you don't. It
that
just seems
to
like
just pull it
Brockton is
up.
dragging their feet. It seems like it's been about at least a month now, right? The Brockton.
Maybe, and Candace, I don't know because you're more in the private sector, but when I deal with DPH, when I deal with DEP, OSHA, government agencies have a whole different time frame than we
It's
do.
slow, yeah, it's
I
called
mean,
slow.
there was a gentleman who passed away in January out in the western part of the state who was working in a marijuana facility, grow factory, right? He died. OSHA came out with a report today that said, yeah, it was probably because of what he was inhaling.
Oh my God.
I mean, but January, it's October, and this is when their report gets released.
So it's my opinion that that's what we need to relay to
Excuse
this
me.
gentleman when he comes in, that look at, here's the way it's gonna go down. You're not cleaning up. We're going to evict you. It could take months for you to get back in your house.
Right.
Or you can get your ass.
Yep, exactly.
So that's what I think we should do. I think we should
That's
send
where
him
we're
a letter that says that, and we're gonna vote on it in 2 weeks at our next meeting. If there's no improvement, then
That would
That's
be
what we
perfect.
vote. I think
And
that's
then
what we
that gives us 2 weeks to work on money pots, that gives us
gives him
the
one last chance.
legality of having all of our ducks in a row, and
And him
protect the
opportunity to
residents,
come here.
protect him, and protect the town.
Great idea.
So public hearing in 2 weeks on this matter.
You got it.
Do we have to vote on that?
I don't think you have to, but, yeah.
All right, tobacco.
Oh,
Quit smoking years.
are we down to the tobacco one? This is awesome, actually awesome. And this one's free. The town was approved for totally state-funded South Shore Tobacco Collaborative. Lady's name is Kathleen Mahoney.
I met her.
See, you did in the office. She'll be conducting, starting next week, she's going to go into each cigarette establishment, tobacco establishment, and give them education and proper signage if they don't have it. Get them on board. So we're starting with education of each of these people, because if you remember a couple of meetings back, they got caught in a federal sting that underage, people were buying cigarettes. Well, we can't do anything because it was a federal agency that did it. So either the town has to have one, which again, follow the money, we'd have to pay for. That's what I used to have to do in Marshfield. But at least this way, it's totally state funded. We don't pay a dime, and we're part of 5 other towns: Norwell, Pembroke, Hanson, Hanover. So, and she's really good.
Great.
Then it moves on to her actually conducting a sting. In the event that they fail, okay, she just reports to us. We're responsible for writing the fine, which first offense is $1,000, calling them in front of the board because they're allowed to dispute the sting operation, and then we're staying in total compliance of the new laws, and we're having it done for us for as long as this grant is funded.
Awesome.
It's just a win-win-win. So,
Cool.
then what's next?
I'd like to add something to the discussion if I could, or do you have to do that?
No.
Different discussion item.
No, it's actually nice that you'd bring this before us, because it's a public health initiative. So when we're at a open meeting, we can't talk specifics on a property unless it's listed, but anything that we think is a betterment to the overall public health of the community, anybody can throw out there, and we can either table it or talk about it. So
here's, I spoke with Bob a couple days ago over the phone about this, just briefly. I was in Hanson the other day, and they had pamphlets, and I grabbed one, and it said, how to recognize and help an overdose. So I opened it up, and I was like, well, this is stupid. She's like, what do you mean? I said, step 3 is use Narcan. This guy not Narcan. Mm-hmm. And that's when she mentioned that they're actually having a class in Hanson on the use of Narcan, and then you'll actually get Narcan.
Yeah, they give it to people.
To people to use. So I personally thought that was the best idea in the world. Now, I don't know if it was the night after or it was a couple nights before. I was laying in bed, and I had the scanner, and went off. The fire department was told to come with bonds because somebody left a syringe in the bathroom. And then, a couple days, I think that was Saturday night, then Monday morning, I happened to go to Hanson, and this happened, and I think that would be a really good idea to bring this to Halifax as well. I mean, as my cousin, who's a police officer in Stoughton, said, this does not discriminate. It's everywhere. So I'd like to try, and I talked to Bob, and Bob was going to see what he could do to kind of make this come alive. And I took it a little further. I was saying that back before my son was born, or when he was very young, he used to be able to take CPR classes at the fire department. Since then, they've only done it for first responders and people getting recertified in the industry. personally, I think that everybody should know how to do CPR, use the ADE, as well as this. Actually, Bob, I agree, septic systems are very important, hoarding situations are very important, but so is, the health of people. And if we can provide, people to be able to help, let's say I'm at a restaurant who's having a heart attack and I can do CPR. I mean, I don't remember the exact, but a friend of mine is a Pembroke paramedic, and he was saying, is it 10%? You might know. For every minute or something like that, there's a minute to chance of survival, and I don't remember what it was, but he was basically saying you're already at like 50% by the time you even get there. So I just think these things are very important to try and bring to town if we're able to. Were you able to take that anywhere, Bob?
So, yes.
Good.
I have a meeting next week with Captain Gibbons. You had alluded that the town only did trainings for, paramedics or that. No.
Well, that's all the sign ever says.
Signs, everywhere signs. Most people don't read them, and the other ones might be wrong, But long story short is currently it's once a month. It may end up being every other month. And the fire department offers CPR, anti-choke, which would be great for our restaurants because that's part of the Mass Food Establishment Code, and would be able to do Narcan training.
Why isn't this advertised if it's once a month?
I know, it sounds like it's more, we have it, we just have to let people know.
Yeah.
There we go. So I talked to the fire chief. I said, now that I know it's actually available, I want to run with this ball and try to bring it to light for the general public. And he said, Bob, we can get you up and running before we put anything else together so that at least you'll be trained within this town building. I'm always here,
Right.
to be able to do that. So, just by doing that, we've taken it at least from there to here,
Right.
which to me, anything forward's better than backwards. And then let's try to do a public awareness of maybe first we start with town employees and then start to bring in the general public and then utilize this. All it costs, and this is where I need Joe to help me out with, but I do know the instructor is one of the fire department people, and they get paid overtime. They bring them in so that they don't go out on a call or do whatever. What funds that comes out of could be us, could be them, could be split, or he said something about, and I don't know the details on this, but like a $20 a person fee.
Right, and that's
Or
what
something dirt cheap
that's what I paid. That's nothing.
I know. And it's not it is the same approved course that the Red Cross does. But they don't milk it out into 6 or 8 hours. It's done in a reasonable time frame, probably 4,
I did it years ago, and it was great, but I haven't seen it come up since.
No, I think like a lot of things, it's a matter of how we, put it into perspective and bring it to the forefront. And this is something that when you said, wow, they're trying to get training here and there, first thing I called was fire department because of how close we were through COVID. I go, what do you guys sort of kind of have available? He's like, we've been doing this every month and only one person shows up.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't get it out there,
Well, again, I'll
I mean,
speak for the Board of Health. So what we want to do, Steve, or what your agent would like to do, is keep running with the ball that you already threw at me, and make sure that the things that you just spoke about get accomplished in a really timely manner, because the money here, I'm not worried about. Just in case
Now,
you think
I
I'm a
want to
money
take that a
guy.
little further. While you're running with your ball, because as we found out tonight, everything takes time, can we find a way to advertise the services that already exist? That once a month on October 15th, whatever it is, you can...
As
take a
soon as
CPR
I
test.
finalize with Joe and the fire chief, which will be next week, Joe's got a few days off, if they're going to once a month or twice a month.
Okay.
And as far as advertising, the board's no problem. However, I have money in, well, managing the budget for the department, have monies available to advertise, like in the Wicked Local there, and some's just Facebook. Once you put it on Facebook, although this is good news, so I don't know if people will read it.
I think this is fantastic news.
I can't emphasize it more because, one, I
never
need
did that.
retraining, and when they put the food code, we adopted the federal food code. This is now part of the inspection. And it's one thing to say, okay, this is part of the inspection, try to get it done, and then you've got people struggling to try to get someone to a course because this, that, whereas once they know, if George from 50/50 or Dave from Lionsville and Grill 58 or Cape Cod, Cafe, any of the restaurateurs want to get some staff there just for, anti-choke and CPR. That's like a win-win. You really, because... they're with the public every day, and where would a person probably choke? In a restaurant.
That's it. Like I think about it. So my father had triple bypass, and he's got a pacemaker in. If he dropped of a heart attack, kind of sit outside and wait for the sirens to leave the firehouse. Yeah. So, and I mean, how many 55 plus residents do we have?
Yep. So
I think this is going to be good.
If you look at the 3 points, CPR, anti-choke, and the use of Narcan. Part of, if I remember correctly, you also said what to look for.
Yes,
Meaning,
yes.
if you don't, that pamphlet, so we could even come out with a pamphlet or find one that's already available that says, hey, by the way, this is happening, it's your child, you always don't think it's going to be your child or your,
It would be great to offer it for the teachers in the elementary school too.
Yeah.
The CPR and anti-choke.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I was reading an article last night. It's funny, just the things you see. That's why I think our phone to listen to us about. Do you remember the show Different Strokes?
Oh, yeah.
So the girl that was on there, she fought. Her and Gary Coleman and the other were in the backstage doing all kinds of bad stuff. She ended up dying of an overdose. I mean, so it's, and she was young. So I mean,
It
Some
can be
people
young, it
overdose
can
and
be
die on their
old.
first time.
yeah.
It's not people think of it as addicts. It's people experimenting.
Yeah, and, it's, I think back, like, my brother who's, a hippie in the late 60s and that stuff, and now he's, I don't know how he made it to 78, whatever he is, but he said he's like even afraid to do anything that he did regularly because it's so different. Because back then, like, pot was sort of pot. Coke was sort of Coke. Heroin
Now
was
it's all got
sort of
fentanyl in it.
heroin. There wasn't fentanyl in it.
Everything's
There
got
wasn't THC strains that are like over the top, you know. So, you know, as things evolve, so do drugs. And as drugs become more potent, somebody tries it experimentally once, and guess what? It was cut with fentanyl, not baby powder or whatever they used to use back in the day, you know, and that's just... So,
Keep us in the loop.
Oh, yeah, I think I should have the total answer, start time, whatever, for this by our next meeting, potentially sooner, just getting the two players involved.
Now, last question I have about that is, do all businesses have to have the defibrillators in? Is that like a...
I don't think so.
No, I
No,
wasn't
it's not a
sure.
regulation,
Okay.
which is sort of unfortunate.
I think some places do, like gyms have to have them.
There's one here,
Do
correct?
restaurants have to have them?
No,
Wow. School has one.
I think probably two, one in the gym and one in the
Another area.
general area near the nurse, I would think. Because, you know, defibrillators are not that hard to get. We opened up
They're so
just a
easy to use.
sub shop.
I mean, a child could really figure out how to use an AED. It's so easy. I mean, it's got two-step picture instructions. Put it on, turn it on. That's it.
Yep. We only,
And that's one of those factors you were talking about time from collapse to resuscitation. One of the things is applying the AED. The faster you can do that, the better their chance of survival.
Which is why I'm waiting for them to be, I don't want to use the word cheap enough, but cost effective enough for everyone to have. I think at some point in life, everyone could have one in their home. Or hope.
the way that technology's evolved, there's probably, that's not out of the realm. It's not. And that's part of, fortunately, with the public health grant, and trying to bring more equity to towns, the collaborative ability to maybe say, okay, let's see if we can ensure defibrillators here or this or that, and just try to take each thing one step further. What happened to most health departments, I think all health departments, was COVID consumed 2 years of, in my opinion, what was always just, sort of, hey, if there's no problems, let's ride it. Well, now we know that we can face a pandemic, get through it, and say, what can we really do moving forward? Is it a small piece like that? Is it, all in small pieces? It makes that big function that will really promote public health. And that's what's been really exciting over the last 2 months, now that I see the rates start to drop. COVID's not gone. Flu's not gone.
Flu's
They'll
here.
never be gone.
Flu's here.
Okay? But it allows us as health officials, and the fact that the state's actually given us money, that we're not hiring positions that we'd have, if the grant runs out, it runs out. But for the 2 years, let's try to hit it wherever we can. And, to me, that's a big impact. The state never gave money in the health areas.
I had a discussion item too, real quick. I was thinking about, we talked a little bit about it last year and then the timing just didn't work out. Halloween safety for
Yay.
children.
Sure.
My thought was in front of the library on the Saturday before Halloween, because there's so many kids in and out of there for soccer. That place is like a hot spot. And just like, wear your reflective stuff, just safety stuff. Don't eat open candy, don't eat, anything like that. So just like a little table with maybe like coloring sheets about safety, and maybe I can get someone to donate some glow sticks or the glow necklaces for kids to wear. Something like that.
Fantastic idea.
Yep, I agree. I know last year, and I don't know if it was because of COVID, but they did the drive-through for kids to pick up candy. Now, I don't know if they still plan on doing a drive-through or not, but that would certainly incorporate in nicely. But if not...
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
No.
But yeah, I could certainly do it there too. I was just thinking that there's so many kids in and out, and I think Halloween falls on a Monday, so Saturday morning when all those kids are in and out. A little informational table. Maybe get some glow sticks donated.
I'm sure I can speak with our friends at Walmart and Stop and Shop and
Yeah, that'd be great. And
ask
just
them if they feel like
any
helping
reflective
contribute towards that. Better. Cumberland's might even. It's amazing what they send into convenience stores now just to try to sell. So,
Perfect.
yeah, excellent bring up. See, when we have a chance to actually roundtable and talk about what do we do moving forward instead of dwelling on an issue of today, yeah, we'll get C2 out of the way. I'm telling you, Steve, it's happening. I know it's not happening fast enough for you.
Well, it's not happening. It's
Welcome
been
to the world of healthcare.
the safety issue's been going on too long now, in my opinion.
Alleged safety issue. Again, I haven't been in the unit.
If there is no egress to a rear door, that is a safety issue.
It is, but then again, is a window the secondary egress, which he could fight in court? Is the fact that he could get downstairs into his cellar a secondary egress?
All right.
We see the big egress, which is the slider, which I can visualize, and I can target him and not let him know that the windows could technically be that second means of egress. But what I care about him, and what I care about is the units to the side of him. Right now, aren't experiencing any rodent problems, but this is the time of year when rodents come inside, but they do get odors because their bathrooms back up to one another. So they'll smell, allegedly, again, I have to use that word because I haven't verified it. But it's more likely than not that this allegation is true, that there's a smell from that unit going through that other unit's bathroom that is not tolerable.
Well, in 2 weeks.
We're gonna
In 2 weeks, we're going to nail it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if he hasn't made any progress, then you're going in.
You're going in, I'll,
Scoop him up.
well,
Get the shovels and.
it's at that. We may even be able to muster the support of the community and/or the condo association to say, hey, if this isn't a hazmat situation, would everybody,
Help.
I have full body suits, I have booties,
I'll
I have
videotape it and
gloves,
we'll go on Hoarders.
and we could,
Go on TLC.
we could probably clean the place out in no time. When we did the other issues that was here in town, fortunately, it was all just compulsive buying of product.
And they
This sounds more
And it
like trash.
was no, there wasn't any
No,
trash.
I mean this CT.
Oh, this
lighting.
one has some, yeah. If it's not
At least
trash though,
allegedly.
yes. And as far as like really bad trash, I think it's more cardboard boxes, old containers from the
So
restaurant.
hopefully not a
all this.
hazmat type.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not, from the smells that I would have got this summer, I wouldn't anticipate a hazmat situation.
Okay.
I would just see a lot of junk.
Okay.
And so you got a public health excellence grant?
Yeah, that's the one with the 5 towns that I just
Oh, okay.
alluded to.
Oh.
So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that I currently have 4 towns that are receiving food inspections from my outside consultant. So it's getting them up to their, you have to have 2 inspections on a restaurant a year, some were behind. Now they're falling in line.
Nice.
That position we hope to hire full-time, but nobody has applied yet for that position. And us as the host community have to provide documentation, proof, and it's all current and complete, so
Nice, good job.
done.
All right, Yankee Conference. Did you-
Oh, just to let you know, I attended the Yankee Conference, picked up a bunch of knowledge, did some great networking, and there's also resources available that we might want to look into. It could be software things for, they have standardized inspections that you can do like on an iPad instead of having to print paper, which is great, and a lot of towns do it. Right now, the grant would pay for that. What I have to make sure is, let's say the grant runs out in 2 years. Making sure the towns aren't on the cuff for the service plans of having that stuff. So if this kind of software can run in conjunction with the grant monies, and they know, okay, we're going to use your software, your programs, as long as we're funded. But if we're not funded, each town's on their own to decide if they want to keep it or not keep it, because, you know, we're not going to add a cost to the town. Under no circumstances will costs be added to this town using
On
the
your
Public
watch.
Excellence Grant under my watch, which is currently my watch.
Secretary position,
Hey,
application.
finally got an application. So, and it looks pretty good.
Is that the one I read the other day?
Yes. So, I mean, I have a trial period. We'll give it a shot. It'll give the office, but you know, the coverage that we need from 2 to 4 and from 8 to 12 on Fridays, because it never fails. I get called at 3 o'clock to go out and get a final inspection of this or that, and I just like, we don't get a lot of calls, but I like the office to be open. That's just me. I think we should be there, so we tried to be there,
All right.
but can't always.
Let's affirm some bills.
Yeah, it's really,
All right. Number 3, affirm bill paid for payroll for the week ending September 24th, 2022, 1 through 3. Can I get a motion to affirm 1 through 3?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Expense account 01-512 fiscal year 23-04. Number 1 invoice ending 756 A, B, C, D, and E. Can I get a motion to affirm as read?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Invoice numbers ending 515 A, B, C, and D. Can I get a motion to...
There's an E.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah, Andy, I apologize. Can I get a motion to affirm as read?
Uh,
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. What is double I?
haven't got a clue.
2.
2. All right, Robert Valerie mileage reimbursement. Do you have receipts?
Yes.
Okay. For July and August, can I get a motion to approve 1 and 2?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mia, Health Agent 2022 Yankee Conference. I need a motion to approve the $295 worth of knowledge.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
There is an invoice.
Okay, I'm keeping tabs on it. MAHB 2023 annual membership fee for $150. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Revolving account 25-513 fiscal year 23-05. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I get a motion to approve items 1 through 4?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Invoice ending 756, A through E. Can I please get a motion to approve as
Didn't you
read?
just do that? You said 1 through 4, right?
You're right.
Right,
So
and that
under
includes-
4, those are already
Those are part
included,
of 4.
Steve.
So we can move along.
Yep,
Silver Lake.
nursing. Nursing.
Nursing services account 01-522- fiscal year 23-03. Can I get a motion to approve the nursing period August 2022 for 583.33?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public Health Excellent Grant account ending in 189 fiscal year 23-01 for the following 1 and 2. Can I have a motion to approve as read?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Another Public Excellence Grant account ending in 189 fiscal year 23-02. 1 and 2. Please get a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have my coffee. All right, we've already signed. I believe we have
We
one
didn't vote.
permit.
I moved it, but you didn't vote it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right ahead of myself. All right.
Permits, did you do anything with permits?
Man, I don't know why we do signed and then go back into accounts again. All right, expense account. 1, Robert Valerie, another mileage reimbursement for September. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Do we have to approve the meeting minutes for September 7th?
I don't think, we never approved meeting minutes, do we?
Approve them anyway.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 7th, 2022?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
W. Mason, who else but, ending in 5926, items 1 through 4. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Revolving account 25-513- fiscal year 23, 1 and 2.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
iPad gift account 26-514-4830-02 fiscal year 2020 or June fiscal year 23 AT&T Mobile invoice number ending 2022 yada 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 sell iPad usage and contract for September 2022.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, permits. Patrick Rutledge, Proline Incorporated, 2022 Title V Inspector's Permit. Can I get a motion to approve this gentleman?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just make sure that she didn't stick anything else in here.
Should just be sign the
You did.
stuff and
All right, can I get a motion to end the October 5th meeting at 7:23?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.